Hello, hi, welcome back to my channel. And in this video, we are tier ranking all the books I have read in 2024. If you have not seen my top 10 reads of 2024 or my favorite reads of 2024, I will link it in the description box below. This video might be a spoiler to that video if you end up sticking around for this video before watching the other video. Regardless, we are going to start our tier ranking of all my favorite books of 2024. So here we have my trusty laptop. Let's start with our tier rankings. We have at the top Lives in My Head Rent Free. These are all the books that literally lives in my head rent free. Pretty much I can't stop thinking about it. I guess you could say it's my 5-star reads. Could be 4.5 or maybe 6-star reads. Next, we have really enjoyed it. So the reason why I have that here is because that's pretty much the only description I have for books that I really enjoy. I need to expand my vocabulary, but really enjoyed it is pretty much what I usually say. So these are 4-star reads, 4.5 probably, and really enjoyed it. It's pretty much so close to top tier, but there's something missing. Maybe an element's missing, or it's just that feeling that's missing of a 5-star. We have Solid, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a solid read, pretty solid, good book. Recommend it still. Next, we have Mid. It's mid, not meh, it's like a meh kind of feeling. Not too good, not too bad, it's just mid. And finally, we have DNF'd. These are books that I have soft DNF'd, or pretty much should have DNF'd. So let's get started with the tier ranking. The first book we have here is A Tempest of Tea. Oh, I forgot who it's by. Anyway, we have A Tempest of Tea. I would put this as mid. I don't know, I just did not connect with the characters, and I don't really remember what happened in the book. So I'll leave it as mid. I felt like this was trying to be Six of Crows, but didn't end up being Six of Crows, if that makes sense. Maybe it wasn't trying to be Six of Crows, but that was just kind of the mindset I had while reading the book. Next, we have Beach Read. Wow, this is pretty hard. So Beach Read, I'm going to put as solid. Reason being, it's possible because when I started reading Beach Read, I wanted to read all Emily Henry books within 2 weeks or even a week. And so I was just speed running the book. And because of that, I don't think I really took the time to appreciate it and take my time reading the book. However, maybe I will do a reread. I haven't unhauled the book. I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm gonna give it another reread. But for now, from what I remember, it was a solid read. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Really enjoyed it. Even though I rated this a 5-star on my Goodreads, when I think back to it, it wasn't that it's missing an element. I don't know what it is. It's just that feeling of missing that 5-star element in it. I loved the sibling relationship in it. And as for the main couple, I didn't really care for the main couple that much. And I think this was my favorite Emily Henry book so far. But then again, I didn't read Funny Story yet, so we will read that sometime this year, hopefully. We'll see what my rankings of Emily Henry are. Next, Bride. Lives in My Head Rent Free. This was shockingly good to me. This was my number 2 spot of my top 10 reads of 2024. It wasn't a spectacular, it wasn't original, it wasn't anything that's mind-blowingly amazing. It's just exceeded my expectations of Bride. I didn't have any expectations going in. Anyways, I will leave that for my top 10 reads to see in depth what I thought about the book, but pretty much loved it. I literally laughed out loud in this book. This was so good. I love the witty banter that was happening in between the main characters. I just loved every bit. It just hooked me. I just kept thinking about it and just wanting to pick up the book and read it. Don't know if it will be the best book of all time, but definitely the best book of 2024. Not the best book, one of the best books. Next is The Encyclopedia of Fairies by Emily Wilde. Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry. It's the Emily Wilde Encyclopedia of Fairies. I DNF'd this one. This was Sunny Kim Reed's February pick in her Fable Book Club. So I picked it up and I don't know why. I just could not focus while reading this book. It just did not capture my attention. And there were multiple times that I was reading the same page over and over again. I just could not get into it. So I was just reading and my mind was somewhere else. Actually, I wanted to soft DNF this one, but I decided to just DNF it. I don't think I'll pick up this book. Have a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I'm gonna put it at mid. Okay, so the reason why I put it at mid is because, again, I did not care for the characters. The book, I love Regency era books. I mean, I've only read one, but I love Regency era things. So I liked that aspect of it. I couldn't really focus while reading this book. I was just reading for the heck of it. I think this book is kind of you either love it or it was mid, or not like it. So, Happy Place by Emily Henry. I will put it at really enjoyed it. After thinking about it more, I actually liked Happy Place a lot more than I thought. I did like the two main characters, I believe. I liked just like the found family that's happening within the friends. I like that it's a second chance romance. Second chance romance isn't my preferred trope to read, but it was still a solid book. Oh, should I put it on solid? No, I still really enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading the main characters and how they, I still really enjoyed it. No, I'm gonna keep it there. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. No doubt the best book of 2024. My number one spot on my top 10 reads of 2024. Lives in my head rent free. I was actually shocked that I loved this more than Yours Truly and Part of Your World. Those two were neck to neck, but Just for the Summer just beat them by a notch. It was such an interesting read. I loved every moment of the book. Solid, amazing, loved it. Not even just my best book of 2024, it's probably on my best book of all time. So, Part of Your World lives in my head rent free. I will always recommend Abby Jimenez's Part of Your World interconnected standalone series. Love it. With Part of Your World, I had no expectations going into it, so I think that's what made me love it even more. If it was too hyped up, maybe I would put it at really enjoyed it, but because I had no expectations going in, I loved reading the main characters. I just love how Abby Jimenez writes. It's just so captivating. People We Meet on Vacation. Solid. Pretty solid. It was good. So with People We Meet on Vacation, I do like reading Friends to Lovers. I liked People We Meet on Vacation maybe a bit more than Beach Read. I don't think People We Meet on Vacation was that heavy of a topic compared to the other books that Emily Henry wrote, but it's just a nice getaway from just the heavy topics. It was still very interesting. I know most people preferred Beach Read over People We Meet on Vacation, and actually People We Meet on Vacation is lower on the list, but I would put it higher than Beach Read. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstein. I soft DNF this. Strong soft DNF. I really enjoyed it at the time that I was reading it. So I was reading it in the month of October, but because I had so many books that I wanted to read, this wasn't that high up on my list. So I read halfway through, and then from there I just lost interest. So not because the book was not good, it's really all about the atmosphere. It's all about the vibes for this book. It's not something that I would zoom by really quickly. It's something that needs some time to really dive into that world, at least for me. So it's a strong, soft DNF for the time being. And I'm definitely going to pick this up in 2025, around the same time again, maybe in September. The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I really enjoyed that. So this is the novella for Throne of Glass, and there are five short stories inside. I want to do a Come Read With Me, like a Throne of Glass series on this channel, so we'll see. Because there are 5 stories in it, after I read a story, I can put it away and then come back to it later without really forgetting what happened, if that makes sense, in the story line. The Naturals. Really enjoyed it, by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is true crime meets YA with superpowers. So if you like that, highly recommend it. It's a pretty addicting read, and it's kind of spooky for me because I'm scared of everything. But I was hooked on reading this one, so really enjoyed it. I don't know why it's not in my Lives in My Head Rent Free. There's just that feeling, you know, that 5-star feeling that's missing. I think I am satisfied with leaving The Naturals here. All right, The Dead Romantics. Lives in My Head Rent Free. Now, I would say this would be on my top 10 list of 2024. I don't know if it will be on my all-time favorites, because as I think about it, it does live in my head rent-free, but because it brought me out of my book slump, my summer book slump. So as for the story, no, actually, yeah. As for the story, it was still very good. I did like the plot. I did like the characters in it. I don't think I cared about the romance in it, but I just liked everything else. What is this called? 6 Scorched Roses. Right. This is the novella for the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I DNF'd it. Soft DNF'd. Again, this was during the time where I had so many books that I wanted to read in October that I pretty much picked up 3 books at the same time reading it, and it was just too much. So I had to DNF 2 of them, which was The Night Circus and 6 Scorched Roses. But definitely going to pick up these 2 this year because I do want to finish this series. It's not because I didn't like it. Again, it's because I was overwhelmed with all the books that I wanted to read in October. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Mid. Now, I saw this circling around Bookstagram, and because of the cover of the book, I wanted to pick it up. I thought this was going to be a nice, cozy read and very fitting for September. So did not read the synopsis, just went in blindly, and I was listening to it as an audiobook. I think if it wasn't for the audiobook, I would have put it in DNF'd. Should have DNF'd. Because I don't think I would have read that book. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe was not what I expected. It had so much spice, and I was going in without expecting any spice at all. But that was my fault because I should have read the synopsis, because I think the synopsis really told you that it was going to be spicy. Unfortunately, it was mid. I did love the cozy elements that were sprinkled in throughout the book. So that part I enjoyed, so that's why it lands in mid. However, again, if I were to physically pick up the book and read it, or even just read it as an ebook, I think I would have put it as a DNF. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Really enjoyed it. I had a great time reading this book. Near the end, however, I felt like I was, or like middle to end, I was slowly drifting away from the story. I thought it was dragging on a little bit too long, but this was great. I loved it. Again, it's missing that element, that 5-star element in it, but I'm kind of curious how the second book will be. So after I finish reading the novella here, I will jump right into the second book. Hopefully this year. Is it the song? I think it's a song for The Wild Build. Lives in my head rent free. Absolutely amazing. I was kind of worried about going into this book because it deals with robots, and I have never read a robot book before. And surprisingly, I enjoyed every moment of it. Okay, actually the beginning of the book was a bit slow for me for the first 2 chapters. But after that, when Dex met the robot, I was hooked. And I just love the thought-provoking, philosophical conversations between the two. And it had a cozy vibe to it, so I love cozy vibes. Yours truly lives in my head rent-free. Has to be up here. Not much to say about it because you can check out the top 10 reads of 2024 for that. The Wicked King by Holly Black. I want to say solid. I don't remember anything that happened in this. For The Wicked King, I was listening to it as an audiobook, and I have learned that I cannot read fantasy books. I'm sorry. I cannot listen to fantasy books on audiobooks if I don't have the physical book with me. I don't know why. I just pretty much listen and then I kind of drift off. So that's what happened here. There are many times that I drifted off, but then something happens in the book that makes me come back and I'm like, wait, I need to listen to that again. I'm definitely going to do a reread of the series actually. The last time I read The Cruel Prince, I think was in 2023. Again, I don't really remember what happened in The Cruel Prince, so I had a huge gap in between The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King. I am planning on doing a reread of that this year. Don't hold me accountable for that, but definitely going to do a reread where I'm going to read The Cruel Prince and then jump right into The Wicked King so that I don't forget any major characters or even side characters that become major in The Wicked King, if that ever happens. With the events that I do remember in The Wicked King, it was solid. Possibly really enjoyed it if I remember what happened in the book. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches goes here. Lives in my head rent-free. Again, this is on my top 10 reads of 2024, so The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches reminds me of The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. These two in terms of vibes. So if you liked The House in the Cerulean Sea, you may like The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I loved this book. Now, is it going to be my top reads of all time? Kind of have to think about it. The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I'm so sorry. Really enjoyed it. So I absolutely loved The Silent Patient by the same author, and that lives in my head rent free. That's the book that I recommend to everyone that I know so far. So The Silent Patient would lie in my top all-time favorites of all time. The Maidens was very good. I really enjoyed it, but there's an element missing that didn't make it to living in my head rent-free. I really enjoy this author's writing as well. The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo lives in my head rent-free. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was debating whether to put it between really enjoyed it or lives in my head rent-free, but yeah, I'm going to be doing a reread of Six of Crows without having a break in between to see if it really lives in my head rent-free. So that's that. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Solid. I would say Rock, Paper, Scissors was scary. It was scary for me. I remember reading it at 6 a.m. and it was still dark outside, and I was spooked out. Near the end of the book, spooked out. It wasn't something that hooked me completely, and it wasn't something that I really enjoyed. But the ending, or near the end, was creepy. Very creepy. That's what I remember about this book. If I had one line to describe this book, it was creepy. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. What happened in this book? Solid. Good read. The show, I did not like the show. But as for the book, I did like trying to solve the case as well alongside with the main character. But actually, maybe I might put it at, no, I'm gonna keep it as solid. Reason being is because as I think more about it, I remember at the time I would always want to see what's gonna happen next, but I think what made me pick up the book more is so that I can watch the show. It's not because of the story itself, but because I wanted to see how the show was going to be. So I'll leave it as solid. Magnolia Parks. Oof, okay, no. Yeah. Yeah. No, okay, hold on. Yeah, let's put it here. So, lives in my head rent free. Only because, no, I'm gonna put it as really enjoyed it. I did read this in January of 2023, so I don't really remember the whole events that happened in it. I remember bits and pieces of it. Maybe I might do a reread of this too. Maybe I shouldn't take a huge break in between series, because then I forget what happens in it, and then when I read the second book, I don't remember what happens in the first book. That would be pretty crucial in the second book. So maybe this might be a reread after going through the whole series. Because currently I am reading Daisy Hates, and I am eating that up. It is so good. I think I am a team Daisy Hates over team Magnolia Parks as of now. The Gilded Cage. This, I really enjoyed it. So I have heard a lot of people say that the Prison Healer series is quite slow, so it would start pretty slow, or in the middle it becomes very slow. I would agree with that for The Gilded Cage. It did become very slow, but I was still pretty engaged into the story. This was a build-up. I think this book was kind of like a filler book, in my opinion, to lead into the final book in the series. Throne of Glass. Oh my gosh, okay. I forgot about this. I DNF'd it. Okay, hold on. So I DNF'd it, but a strong soft DNF once again, because again, this was a book I started in November, and again, I had a lot of books that I wanted to read in November, October, November. So pretty much the fall season, I had so many books that I wanted to read, but I just didn't know where to start. I pretty much read one page and then I stopped. I started this in November, and then by December, I wanted to finish this book. However, I think I had other books that I wanted to focus on. So I decided to just move this to 2025. So it's not because I didn't enjoy it, it's because I was overwhelmed again with all the books that I wanted to read. The Blood Trader. What happened in The Blood Trader? I would say I really enjoyed it. The story was, I feel like I liked the second book more than the third book, which is kind of odd. But anyways, this ties up the whole story, and if I were to rate the whole series, I would give it a 5 stars. But The Blood Trader, there was one cheesy element in here that I kind of looked past. But again, I think it's geared towards the YA audience, so I get why they put this element in here. If you know, you know. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it as really enjoyed it because of that one scene. It's not even just that one scene, it's just the story near the end in general wasn't to my likings per se, but still really enjoyed it. Finally, we have The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. Whoops, wrong way. And this lives in my head rent free. The first book was so good. Even though the trials did take, it kind of dragged on a bit, but I was eating it up. It was so good. And that cliffhanger And the first book was insane. Love that. So now looking at my tier list, I am pretty shocked with the amount of books that are in my solid. I thought I would have more books in my really enjoyed it. And for mid, I kind of expected this. Lives in My Head Rent Free, pretty much expected it. I feel like The Crooked Kingdom might go and really enjoyed it. No, I'm just gonna keep it here for now. My DNF'd, expected. This was expected. This is something that I was thinking about anyway. These were all the books I did DNF anyway. There were no should have DNF'd in this video, so yeah. And Lives in My Head Rent Free. That's actually quite a lot of books that lives in my head rent free, so pretty shocked. So as I read more books, maybe I can do a tier ranking video of my all-time favorite books and rank them. So like a 5-star read and then 6-star read, or you know, that kind of ranking. So maybe I'll rank my Lives in My Head Rent Free books or 5-star reads and see if they actually are a 5-star read. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your books are that lives in your head rent free. Let me know what books you DNF'd in 2024, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!